Right, so a couple of days ago I turned on the Quest and there was an update for virtual desktop. And I was quite excited about this because I've been using virtual desktop to obviously play wirelessly in first-person shooters, and it's been working really well. But compared to a wired connection, there is a noticeable latency difference. If you're holding your gun in front of you and you move your hand left to right, you can see there's just that fraction of a second delay between when you move your hand and when the weapon moves in front of you on the, not on the screen, but in the world, in the virtual environment that you're in. And so I see this update from Virtual Desktop. Obviously I got it downloading, but then I went over to the Reddit page to see what was it, or actually to the Virtual Desktop website, to see what had actually been improved. And a few things have changed. It's changed the way that he reports the overall latency in the sort of desktop client now. So what you'll see are actually higher numbers than you saw before, but it's now reporting the input to photon latency. So it's a more accurate and more interesting figure to see than it was before. So whereas I was seeing sort of 27 milliseconds previously, I'm now seeing around 40 milliseconds, maybe 36 to 40, depending what I'm playing. Or in fact, no, even slightly lower than that. That was when I was downstairs. When I was upstairs, only a few meters from the router, I think I was getting around 30. So a nice, really nice low figure for this new format. But what's more important is that he's managed to reduce the latency by about 10 milliseconds. Now, not the latency you see on that reported figure, because that now looks bigger, but the actual latency that you experience has fallen round about 10 milliseconds. And that is huge, not just in a figure, but it feels, basically that delay that I spoke about a second ago, where I move and then a fraction of a second later I saw my hand or weapon move in the game, that is gone. I sat there for ages going like this with my weapons, fast as I could, and it's one-to-one now. I can't tell any difference, and this is in zero caliber I was trying it out, I can't tell any difference between that and the wired connection as far as the latency goes in that game. I tried a few other games. I tried Stormland, because this is the other thing. There's now support for Stormland, which there wasn't previously. There's support for Star Wars Squadrons, and there's an overall quality improvement as well. So these are all really nice little updates. Stormland for me, panning my head around was smooth, with no problem at all. But when I looked at my hands and my arms, they were quite jittery, almost like the controller tracking wasn't great, like maybe the room was getting a little bit dark or something. This is obviously on the Quest 2 and good lighting is important, but it wasn't dark, there was plenty of light. But yeah, the hands were a bit jittery. And then when I tried Star Wars Squadrons, that just didn't seem to be running. That seemed a little bit laggy as well. Now, these were very quick experiments with Star Wars Squadrons and with Stormland. It was just like, try a couple of things, see how it goes. But Zero Caliber, flawlessly. Like, it could have been a wired connection as far as I was concerned. Obviously, the visuals are good. I run 100 megabits, and I use the H.264 codec, and I have sliced encoding on and graphics quality set to medium. It all just worked flawlessly, and that latency that's now gone when you're moving around, that is probably the biggest deal for me. Like when I used to play Half-Life Alyx, or when I still do, I've almost finished the game. With your magnetic gloves, you pull things towards you and then you catch them and put them in your rucksack. I was forever missing it because as my eyes were telling me it was getting near me, and then I moved my hands, there was that delay between the two. So you have to kind of adjust to that. But now it's just not there. So this latest update, version 1.18.0, brings all these improvements, and they are big and they are noticeable. So especially the latency reduction, it's massive. Now the final thing that's been added is a performance overlay when you're in VR. So you can actually see, I'll put it up on the screen here, you can actually see the frame rate you're getting, your overall latency, the bit rate you've obviously got selected. Now this is a screenshot I just grabbed off the internet. This isn't actually my own things, but it's very similar. The amount of time it's taken to encode the game on your PC, to render the game on your PC, then the time it takes to encode it, and then the delay over your network, so that's over your LAN cable to your Wi-Fi router, and then over Wi-Fi to the Quest, and then I guess how long decoding is how long the Quest 2 takes to decode it. So that's how your overall latency is obviously made up. Now, this is really cool to be able to see, because you can adjust your in-game graphics from like ultra down to low, and you'll see the game latency in milliseconds literally go up and down based on what your visual settings are at. So if you're finding it feels a little laggy, you can go in the game and maybe you can tweak your settings back just a little bit, you know, just to try and get it down a little bit lower. These do change colour, so when they go orange or red, I think it is, you know, you're getting a little bit high and what have you. So my network latency is probably around 5 to 7 milliseconds, so that's pretty good. Can't really complain with that. And the decoding should be the same across pretty much all of our headsets, because we're all using Quest 2s for Quest 2 users. But the encoding and the game rendering will be down to what GPU and CPU, primarily GPU, you have, of course. But this is really cool because now it enables us to tweak individual things, see where our bottlenecks are. If we're getting a bit jittery, if we're getting some lag or some latency that we don't want, you know, we can look here and we can see at exactly what moment in time it's stuttering, what is causing us the problem, what the bottleneck is. Maybe we've got our settings too high. Turn the game graphics down, you know, and you'll see that game latency time drop. Maybe you've got an old 20-year-old network cable and it's just not conducting electricity very well anymore. Maybe it's been cut and twisted and taped over the years, like one of my old ones, and your networking latency is up at 20 to 30 milliseconds or something like that, you know. Maybe the encoding is taking too long because your graphics card is old, or maybe you need to try the other codec that's available, you know, and things like this. And again, you can tweak these things, and now you can monitor them and see exactly what difference they make. So this update is just great in every way. We've got an improvement in overall quality. We've got a massive reduction in latency. See, I was running about 27 milliseconds reported the old way. So if 10 milliseconds is shaved off that, that's like a 40% reduction. If we compare it to the way it's reported now, it's probably nearer a 30% reduction. But still, that is massive, because the nearer you get to sort of, I don't know, 10 to 20 milliseconds of overall latency, that's imperceivable sort of territory, really. So, you know, to get down as low as 30 in this sort of input to photon measurement is just absolutely amazing, and it feels it. So if you haven't got your virtual desktop update yet, get it done. It's well worthwhile. Tick the little the box for the performance overlay. It's just in the normal, when you're in virtual desktop in your headset and you've got your normal options under video or streaming, I think it is, it's just on the bottom right hand side. Just tick it, and then once you go back into your game, you'll see this overlay at the bottom. Have a little play around, find out where your bottlenecks are, tweak what you need to tweak to get your best performance. But it really is a game changer. Now for sim racing still looks crap. You've still got jagged edges and what have you compared to using the Oculus Link cable. So this doesn't affect my sim racing sort of opinion in any way. It's just for the things I use VD for, which is, you know, first person shooters and going forward Star Wars Squadrons, once I've had a little tweak with that as well. Although in fairness, Star Wars Squadrons can be played with the cable plugged in because I'm sitting down. But yeah, so not really for sim racing, hasn't improved that at all. And again, sim racers, we're sat in a rig, so we can just have a wire if we want, it's no big deal. But yeah, I thought I'd just have a little chat about it because I saw one other video about this and the guy only brushed over the fact that there was an update and that there was a reduction in latency. He didn't go into detail about all these things you can tweak and all the extra reporting features you've got there now that really help you get the best experience out of virtual desktop. So anyway, hopefully some of you have found this interesting and perhaps helpful. I have still got the second part of my virtual desktop setup video coming with that TP-Link router that I recommended to everyone. I just haven't, it's been such a busy week or two, I just haven't had the time to put it together because it's going to involve lots of bits and pieces, and it's quite a complicated video from start to finish because I want to try and take us all literally from, you know, registering for a developer account to side quest to everything step by step so people can follow it through easily. It's going to be a long video, so I apologise, it's taking some time. if you've already bought the TP-Link router, by all means go watch some other videos and piece them together and have a go yourself. You can't mess it up, so to speak. And then when mine comes out later on, you watch that and you can get some information from that. Then you know that's all good for you. But yeah, if you've gone and bought the router already, by all means get stuck in and have a go. There are other guides all out there, but mine will be coming. I do promise. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and as always, take it easy.